Everyone, we're going to get started. Welcome to our Human Resource Personnel Changes meeting. It's May 12th, 11 a.m. Attending in person are Commissioners Brooks and Duncan. Commissioner Filios is excused. Are there any changes to the agenda? Okay, hearing none, our first business meeting item is mid-year increase for the Sex Offender Registry Specialist, Sheriff's Office.
Commissioners, Kevin Smart for the record. I just want to give you a brief opening. I'm going to turn it over to Sergeant Lawlerton, who can give you a little bit more about the total need of this, because it's in his section he works with daily. Again, we just have an employee who came to us, has been offered another position somewhere. This is a vital position in our organization. This is a vital person in their role. It's an office of one. Our backup person that we had for that has also resigned. And so to lose another person who is a key cog in what they're facilitating for us would just be, one of those positions that we need to try to look and see if we can make a little bit of an adjustment to retain that person for right now, moving forward. So I'll turn it over to Sergeant Walton, who can give you a little bit more about how this person sees their role for us and their integral part for us.
So let me stop you there with a question. I'm not sure how in detail we need to go. My question is, if this person left, what grade would we, or what step would we be hiring at? And so is that?
You can go up to 97% of market, which is 1687, but market is 1740. But the employee was offered an internal county position, which was a higher grade and at a higher rate of pay, and that's what they're coming forward with.
Sure. Since this is just one position, is it going to cause any compression or any other issues? Because it's kind of...
No, it will not cause compression. We did look at it, just,
Okay.
because we know that's a question that comes up. And they're a long-term employee.
Okay.
Commissioners, if I may, we also did ask that HR maybe look at this position to see if it needed to be reclassified in the future as well. Like it might not be in the right spot.
Sure.
So we're hoping for an interim stopgap, allow them to review further, but we've solved our problem for today at minimal cost to us.
Sure.
And we did have that conversation with the sheriff's office and gave some recommendations this morning that I think were received very well and that they're going to look into.
Okay, great. Bill, do you have any questions?
No, I don't have any problem doing this at all, because it's an essential position, and it's, as long as the sheriff can assure me that he's going to be looking for somebody to be the backup.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
It directly impacts public safety.
I'm good.
Yep. So do you need to add anything, or you?
I don't think so, Commissioner. It
Depends on their vote.
Yeah, it depends which way you're leaning. Otherwise, I have a whole packet here I could
Sure.
probably go through and share with you.
Right. Do you want to make a motion?
Yeah, I move that we approve the mid-year increase for the Sex Offender Registry Specialist Sheriff's Office as outlined in the accompanying documents.
Okay. Second?
Bill Brooks,
Aye.
Commissioner Duncan.
Aye.
Excuse me, Chair Pro Tem Duncan.
There you go.
Aye. Still aye. All right. Item 2, temporary detention deputies, new positions request. Sheriff? what do you
Yes,
have?
Robert Norris. This is just a language clarification. We currently hire retired and left out of service Kootenai County deputy sheriffs, but Darren had suggested that if we open it up to retired or left services for law enforcement officers, that we should come to you to get a clarification on the language. So we'd like to open up these positions to retired law enforcement or members who have left law
This
enforcement.
is just a clarification of the language.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, because I have in August 24th, these positions were approved as retirees from Kootenai County.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, I'm all in favor of that, as long as they meet the certifications and all that you have to comply with. I think it's a great idea. So, good.
I move that we approve the temporary detention deputy new position request by the sheriff's office.
Allowing any retired law enforcement who meets certification to be hired at $30 an hour, second,
Or left service.
or left service, second.
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Chair Pro Tem Duncan.
Aye. Okay. All right, mid-year pay increase planner 2, community development.
Commissioners, David Callahan, Community Development Director. This seeks parity, if you will, with one of my planners who's been with us for 3 years. And because of the way our system works, we've been hiring people in that she is now training that make a couple of $3 an hour more than she does. So this really is just trying to keep things on an even keel and to help reduce the turnover that we've had.
Right. All right, Sylvia, anything to add?
We did work with David Callahan on this, and we did see that issue that he had recently had to hire at a higher step than the current existing planners. So it seems appropriate for that adjustment to be made.
Yeah, it's a compression issue that we've addressed in several departments, several different times. And that's why I asked about the sex offender, well, because if we lose this person, what are we going to hire them at? So we might as well pay them instead of hiring somebody else. So, any questions, Bill?
When we have somebody training people that we're gonna be making more than they're making,
Yeah.
time to
Thank you.
make an adjustment.
Motion?
I have no problem moving to approve the mid-year pay increase for planner 2 for community development.
Second.
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Chair Pro Tem Duncan.
Aye. All right. Number 4, request for new plans examiner position.
Commissioners, you will recall we've been using consultants for the better part of a year now. That doesn't work as well as I would like. The consultants frankly have the same problem we have, which is people leave and then they have to be trained. And Christina, to my right, Chief Billing Official, Christina Garland, has repeatedly had to go to the consultants and remind them of how we do business so that we don't anger our people that are going through the permit process. So this is, in my view, a way to facilitate better plan review in-house in a more cost-efficient way. Did you have anything you want to add?
I do. Christina Garland, Chief Building Official. Just to add, right now with the influx of building submittals, we are at 164 waiting to be reviewed. With another plans examiner, this will help alleviate some of the issue to get the submittal documents out for issuance in a somewhat timely fashion. Right now, we're approximately 4.5 months out on reviews.
4.5 months.
For me and our department, that is unacceptable. So if there's possibility, we can hire on a new plans examiner.
So how does a builder make any money when they can't build for 4.5 months?
Can't.
Yeah, you sit and wait. But for clarity's sake, remember these are full house plans, things that,
I
like
understand.
decks and building permits for roofs and stuff, go right through.
It's a lot of money.
Right, but our building season's so short, and with materials,
Agreed.
it's costing people,
Yep.
It's nuts.
Right.
yeah,
So this tries to alleviate some of the fire that's
sure.
driving people crazy.
And then I also assume that the projection, because you just keep getting the influx, that the permit fees are gonna help offset.
We have new fees in the making that'll be in front of you soon. Pat's working on the ordinance.
Okay,
Christina's done all the legwork for the building permit side. Across the board on the planning side, we're just asking for 5%
okay,
because it's within state law to do that.
okay,
Good job, thank you.
right.
I move that we approve the request for new plans examiner position with community development.
Second,
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Chair Pro Tem Duncan.
aye. All right, reclassification results, application systems manager 2.
And I'll be handling that, and then Carrie will be handling the next item that deals with the employee themselves. IT brought forward a reclassification request for an application systems manager to be upgraded to an application systems manager 2. We put it through our normal process, and it landed at a grade 12. The packet that you have shows all of the internal comparisons that we utilized in addition to the Hay method. And we had 2 people within HR validate that grade independently.
Okay,
So we're just asking for the adoption of the grade.
okay. Yeah, I don't see an issue with it.
Sure.
I guess my only question would be, why are we not waiting till budget season?
So we're asking every department whether they're bringing this before you for mid-year or for FY '23. Carrie can go into the timing with the need for the increase.
Okay, good.
And what happens if we don't do this?
This is Carrie Cole from IT. Basically, Jack's been in the same position for 15 years, but over the last 5 years, he stepped up into more of a management role for the applications. And there's no place in our structure right now for him to go into more of a management type position. So he's kind of stuck there until I die or leave. And to me, that's not fair to him for what he's been doing in the job. So
But
that's
why mid-year and not through budget process?
we talked about doing it through the budget process, and then after going through with HR in the auditor's office and the funding that we already have available in that budget, it made sense to do it mid-year. And I think Jack should have it as soon as possible. James wants him to make sure that we're not causing compression with another IT member. So July makes sense to where that person's job would change, their pay would change moving forward, and it would keep inconsistent with that person.
Gotcha.
That's why we picked that date.
Sure. And then does this help with succession planning?
I would say yes, because we don't have that step right now, so it would help in future long-term employees being able to move up a step and to take more responsibilities when they've been with the county or with the IT department in that position. We marked it, I think, as in 10 years in the position that they're in, that they would move up.
Okay, so yes, but now that's going back to the thing that I did not catch. So we're still requiring 10 years with the county before they can step into this role?
The education and experience requirements is a bachelor's degree and a minimum of 10 years working as an application systems manager or equivalent combination and experience.
Okay,
So either
that's the equivalent.
county or equivalent.
Yep, perfect. That's what I want to make sure. So, because we don't want to put ourselves in a bad position where we can't hire people. So, for that. Okay.
I move that we approve the employee pay increase as a result of reclassification for IT.
I think we're still at the application system manager.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I move that we approve the reclassification results. I apologize.
Yeah. Second.
Applications, I just get real confused. 2, right? Manager 2?
Yes.
Okay,
Second.
that's where I got messed up.
Yeah.
You're IT, they're HR.
Yeah.
Bill Brooks,
Aye.
Chair Pro Tem Duncan.
Aye. All right, now the employee pay increase approval as a result of the reclassification. So, and that's what we've kind of already discussed.
You got to do the whole
so,
thing, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I move that we approve the employee pay increase approval as a result of the reclassification for IT.
Second.
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Chair Pro Tem Duncan.
Aye.
Thank you.
All right, higher duty pay for maintenance operator 2. This resource. Jody, can you turn on your mic? Thank you.
Kootenai County Public Transportation's transit specialist position has been vacant since February 2022. While the position remains vacant, the employee in the Maintenance Operation 2 position has performed the federally mandated paratransit duties associated with the transit specialist position. We are seeking consideration for the board to approve this employee's temporary appointment due to the duties associated with the transit specialist position. Once approved, the employee's pay should be temporarily increased to the minimum transit specialist rate per compensation policy 120, section 310. This increase should be retroactive to the date the additional duties were taken on since 23 February 2020.
Okay.
2022, excuse me, that would have been a long time.
Sure. I'm just looking at the higher duty stipend, and if this person's doing work of an open position, then it's really going to be neutral. It's not going to be an increase. And it's showing an increase annually. So I guess,
It says increase annually covered by open position salary savings.
okay, so that's what, I'm just not used to seeing the, usually it's in a different color. Sorry.
Sorry, mine's in black.
That's okay. All right, yeah, I'm fine with it. We've made those accommodations several times this year.
Okay, I move that we approve the higher duty pay for maintenance officer 2 for RMO.
Second.
Bill Brooks,
Aye.
Chair Pro Tem Duncan,
Oh, let me clarify, add back to the pay period in February where it took effect. So,
You would want to add that if you want to make it retroactive.
yeah, I mean, 'cause we've done that before, made it retroactive, right? So are you okay with that, Bill, making it retroactive? All right, so we'll amend the motion to make it retroactive to when they started February.
okay, and you're still seconded,
Yes,
and he's still yayed.
Aye.
and I'm a yay as
You're
well.
yaying too, okay.
Yes.
So everybody's happy.
Thank you. Okay, item 8, major increase for multiple positions, Resource Management Office.
I want to first start out by saying that this request will not cost the county any money. Public transportation has received additional funds for purposes of retention, dealing with compression, and being able to hire the quality skills necessary for the position. So I just wanted to make sure that the board understood this would be a net neutral to the budget. The request is seeking approval from the board to adjust the rate of pay for key transit personnel to address pay compression, improve employee retention, and support succession recruitment. We've had a very difficult time filling the position that was vacant the 23rd of February 2022. The quality and the requirements that are needed for that position, apparently the pay at this particular point is not attracting those individuals. That is a concern. Also, the compression that currently exists within the pay structure is a concern, as I mentioned, retention as well. So the current job market is characterized, as we all know, by shortages of talent increasing, competitiveness, and so to attract and retain qualified employees.
So where specifically did these extra funds come from? Because I know you just got a bid in that was over and above what was budgeted, so for that project. So
Right.
is this going to cause a problem with that project?
No. So the way it works is that we receive funding for operations, planning, capital, security. The capital funding that you're referring to was capital funds that we had, and we're just moving them over from one project to another, and that's that in particular, the funding there.
Okay, so with these funds, there's not going to be any operations that's going to,
There's not going to be any negative net to any of the operational costs that we currently have. This is above the amount that we have. That's what we're receiving.
okay. So I think what I'd be more comfortable with is looking at the positions individually, and I don't think I'm prepared to do that today, but taking the one position that's been open, we've done that before. We've looked at, okay, maybe we need to raise that starting wage. We've done that before. And then compression issues, definitely, we look at those different things. But to take an entire department and, okay, mid-year increases, I think is kind of unfair for county-wide departments who are also struggling. And so it's easier for me to say, okay, we're looking at this position and here's the circumstance. We're looking at this position, here's the circumstance. But to take an entire department and do this, I don't think I'm ready to do that today. I don't know. Bill, what are your,
I'm not either.
okay, so.
Okay, so I just want to bring forward just the consideration that since 2018, wanting to make sure that the compensation for public transportation was understood. These are unique positions, so I just want to make sure that the board understands that. I agree that coming forward with multiple individuals may seem like a heavy lift, but I'm happy to do it individually, but the request will be the same individually for the purposes of that I just stated, so.
Okay. And so from an HR perspective, what does this mean countywide?
Okay, I'm not sure if the way Jody describes compression and how we look at it are the same, so we'd need clarification there. But when we do a market study, we use specific organizations to benchmark from. And we haven't been able to find 3 matches for their positions because they are unique and some are hybrid. So then what we do is we utilize internal alignment. So what we'll do is we'll look at positions that have the same skills, knowledge, know-how, accountability to align them that way. And so typically we will get 50 to 75 positions that are easy to benchmark against and others we can't. So we have to, as HR staff working on compensation, look at those other positions and see what needs to move. Do they belong in that same category or do they need to move? The information we had received showed agencies that were not in our market at this time. So that would be something, if the board would like us to proceed with a different market for RMO, then we would then pursue that avenue.
My concern is if that happens, then we're going to be pursuing 44 different markets.
Correct.
For each department that we have within the county. So is it possible to work with Jody to look at those specific things that we already approve mid-year, like the compression issue, the hiring, wage, and then that way we can dissect it a little bit better. But I'm not feeling comfortable with doing an entire department because I don't think that we can't do it for any other department in the county.
Well, I have to say the reverse was said to me, that when we did bring them forward for multiple times, it was wait to the, when it's not mid-year. And then it was when we didn't wait mid-year, well, wait to the wage study. So I just want you to know that I feel like we've been patient in wanting to get the information necessary. The data doesn't seem to be there in terms of the uniqueness. I understand the comparison within the county.
Right.
And would then like to work with HR to describe those things, so, yeah.
Yeah.
And just for clarification, the wage study that we're doing would be for potential implementation for fiscal year 23. So it's
Right.
definitely good timing for us to work on that.
Right, and so that's good, but like the one position that you can't hire at, I mean, that's something that we would bring forward mid-year, because if you can't fill that position, then we need to look at that specifically one-off.
Okay.
But it's so close to budget season, and you know, holistically, I have to look at 44 departments, so,
Yeah.
Agreed.
I know. Okay. All right, anything else, Bill, on that?
No, I just agree with you. Let's,
Okay. Request to convert HR coordinator to HR generalist. Human resources.
Yes, I'll go ahead and take this one. As you know, HR is in transition with some movement of staff, and so we had been looking at our HR coordinator position and their role and responsibility. And what we have found over the past couple of years, up to 3 years, they have been actually working at an HR generalist level. So what I have before you, originally I was going to request it through budget, but since we have some changes in staffing and it's budget neutral, I've come before the board to ask for that position to be converted to the HR generalist instead of coordinator. This will allow us to advertise the position and look for someone who has some experience in recruiting. As you know, we're dealing with the challenges of finding staff for all our departments, and we've done a great job thinking outside the box, but we need to be able to dedicate more time to that. Recently, CK, which is trying to fill this position as much as she can, said, let's try ZipRecruiter, and we're starting to get some applications through that avenue. So we're we're optimistic and we have to think outside the box because the traditional way of recruiting is not working for anyone, so.
Right, right, which is back to Jody's situation. I'm hoping that with that vacant position since February, we can get some movement on that. But if the wage needs to be looked at, we have to do that. So it's not telling me an FY23 increase. I understand how,
Yeah, I'm not, so, well, there would be an increase in fiscal year '23 because you'd be converting a grade 6 position to a 9. It's neutral, of course, because we'll have
Right.
salary savings while we're recruiting for the vacant position. But I'm not sure, maybe Brandy can help answer that.
Here's the FY '23 increase for the conversion.
yeah.
So it would just be the difference between the 67.
And the 81.
So the 13,000, it'd be 13,932 loaded.
Okay, so that's, it says the FY22 increase, but that's really would be the FY23 increase because we're mid-year. Okay. So I guess my understanding is that HR's been 4 people and our employee numbers have increased substantially and we haven't done that. So I can understand how come the front desk is now taking on other responsibilities because you don't have enough people. So I'm fine with that. Making this change, does that still mean you'll need another body in FY23?
Yes, even with converting that position. So for the budget, I've been working on the HR to staff ratio. So industry standard is 1 full-time HR person to every 100 FTEs. And so currently with 4 staff, we're at 0.43 HR people to 100 FTEs. Even if the board would approve a 5th HR generalist, we would be at 0.54. So we'd be moving the mark a little. We know it's not realistic to come in and ask for 4 or 5 additional FTEs, but we have a very talented, creative team that work very hard, and so the assistance of then a new FT for '23 would be helpful as well.
Okay. Any questions?
I have no questions and no problem making the motion. I move that we approve the request to convert HR coordinator to HR generalist for HR department.
Second?
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Chair Pro Tem Duncan.
Aye. So then next time you'll bring forward the increase?
Well, it would fall just within
Policy 1.
policy 120. Yeah.
Gotcha.
We would work within that to move the individual.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Public comment. Nothing on the line. Okay, thank you guys very much. 11:28, meeting adjourned.